Okay, so here we are, pointed at the laptop screen at the other end of the GPS connection. There it is. I'm going to plug that in a second. I've downloaded the uBlock software I gave the link to, so we'll just start that off. There it is there. Now, if you have a look, I know you probably can't see it very clearly, but it says no fix. It's not got a signal, nothing's working. So we're going to plug in the USB lead, which is coming from the satellite. And we're just going to set the COM port to COM port 10. And there we go. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? So I've now got a longitude. And again, I know you can't quite see it in focus, but it's that first number there, minus 3.174109 degrees. 10, we just moved a bit. I've got a latitude, I've got an altitude, and it tells me that I've got a 3D fix, and I've got 6 satellites, I think, there in the image. No, 5 and a few dodgy ones. And it's telling me where the satellites are in their orbits and all the rest of it. That's everything about I want to know about the satellite, and I can view various other features, but basically the GPS is working. Just a quick note here about GPS systems, because if you're not familiar with using them on drones, you might not fully understand their characteristics. They're not absolutely precise. The latitude and longitude on a good GPS will be of the order of 2 to 3 meters. So you're not going to be absolutely spot on. But it's pretty close. In altitude, they're somewhat worse. They can be as much as 4 or 5 meters out. Also, you might notice that your altitude figure is very strange. I mean, mine says 61 meters. Now, I can tell you that I know, for example, that I live fairly close to the sea, and my altitude is nothing like 61 meters. Nothing at all like that. So you may say, well, is it working incorrectly? Well, the answer is no, because it gives us altitude relative to something called the mean geoid. The mean geoid is an ellipsoid fit through the surface of the Earth. It's a sort of best fit, smooth shape, like an egg shape, fitted through the surface of the Earth. And of course, locally, the Earth goes up and down either side of the geoid, on mountains or in valleys or wherever. So depending on where you are, the GPS can actually think that you have a negative altitude, for example, because sometimes the geoid surface, it is a mathematical surface, it's not a physical surface, might be, sort of 40 meters in the air, and in other places it could be 40 meters underground. So it's clearly underground here because it thinks that I'm, 60 meters up in the air, and I'm not. Oh, look, another satellite just kicked in, so I've actually got more satellites now, doing rather better. I've got 6 now. That's quite good, actually, because I'm indoors. I'm in my shed. And I can tell you that things like the DJI GPS wouldn't get a signal in here. I'd have to take it out into the garden to get a signal at all. So my £12 GPS, I'm actually very impressed with, that it gives me a signal indoors. Which a lot of GPS systems wouldn't. Okay, so now that we know that we've got a connection with the GPS, the connection seems to be sound and working, we can get to work at actually updating the software on this and setting the baud rate correct. Okay.